Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Natalia and today I wanted to do a book recommendation tag. So there are 15 questions in this tag, so let's get into it. The first question is a book you tell people is your favorite. Now, so if you asked me that like some time ago, I would definitely answer the Six of Crows duology, and it's still one of my favorites. But actually, I'm currently reading Divine Rivals, and for some reason, I haven't finished it yet, but I have this deep feeling in my gut that it's going to become my new favorite book. I don't know, there's just something about this book and these characters and this world. I love it so much. But I haven't finished it yet, so I cannot tell you that it's my favorite. That would be like cheating. So yeah, let's just stay with Six of Crows. It's still a great book. It's still one of my favorites. Actually, I mean Six of Crows duology. I highly recommend it. It's basically a fantasy series about a group of like thugs who are offered a chance at a heist. And yeah, it's basically like a very impossible heist. So this book is about that. It's amazing. The characters especially are amazing. So I highly recommend this series. The next question is a book that is your guilty pleasure. I think the Vampire Academy series is probably my guilty pleasure. So I first read it when I was in high school. I don't know, I just feel this nostalgia when I read it. I just love the characters and I just love these books so much. I'm currently rereading them. So yeah, I would say that this whole series is definitely my guilty pleasure. Okay, question number 3. A book everyone loved but you didn't. Now, I wouldn't say everyone loved it. Like, I don't think there is any book that is loved by everyone, but definitely a lot of people loved Red, White, and Royal Blue. But I personally didn't like it. It was one of the most boring books I've ever read, and I didn't really like any of the characters. So I'm sorry if you like this book. Obviously everyone has different tastes, but I just personally didn't like it. I did watch the movie though, and I have to say I enjoyed the movie a lot more than I did the book. So anyways, next question. A book you read the fastest. Maybe the A Good Girl's Guide Murder, especially the first book in the series. I remember I read it maybe in like not one sitting, but I think like one day, because I was so invested in it and I just needed answers. Yeah, I read it pretty fast for my standard. So if you don't know what it's about, in this book we follow a high school girl named Pip, and as her like school project she decides to re-examine a closed murder case. So that's what it's about. Like the case is closed, but she thinks that maybe the guy that supposedly murdered this high school girl, she thinks that he might be innocent, so she's re-examining this case. And this book has so many plot twists. It's honestly amazing and I just couldn't put it down. Next, a book that deserves more hype. I think probably the Angel Falls series. So this is a trilogy, like a post-apocalyptic fantasy series about angels coming down to Earth in order to basically destroy it. It's a very good trilogy, especially the first book. I think, yeah, I gave it 5 stars. So I enjoyed it a lot, but I don't really see many people talk about this book. So I feel like it does deserve more hype. Next, a book that is becoming a movie or a TV show. So here again, A Good Girl's Guide Murder is becoming, I believe it's a TV show. I'm so excited for that. I honestly love the cast that they chose, so I have a feeling that it's going to be amazing. Okay, the next question is a book you have reread the most. Well, I have like a long list of books that I want to reread, but honestly, the only ones I ever read so far is the Vampire Academy series. So I reread the first 3 books. There are 6 actually, so I still need to read 3. I read Vampire Academy, Frostbite, and Shadow Kiss. Yeah, I think these are the only books that I have reread so far. But like I said, I have like a long list of books I want to reread because I read them in the past, or maybe I just enjoyed them a lot and I want to experience them again. So maybe next year I will start rereading more books. Question number 8, a book from a genre you don't typically read. So the genres that I usually read are like fantasy, thriller, mysteries, maybe romance sometimes. I don't read many other genres. Like, I'm open to reading them, but I just don't gravitate towards them. But a few years ago, I read this non-fiction book. It's like a non-fiction self-help book, and the title is How to Be Yourself, Quiet Your Inner Critic and Rise Above Social Anxiety. So I do struggle with social anxiety. I think I mentioned it in my first video, and it's really debilitating. It's hard to even say how much it impacts one's life unless you have experienced it yourself. But anyway, I remember I picked it up. That was like before I even went to therapy or before I went on anti-anxiety medication. I was just really lost. I didn't know what to do. I felt so scared of people and their judgment. So I read this book. Like, I'm not saying that it changed my life. It takes more than just reading one book to overcome like mental health issues. But I just remember I liked this book because it explained this social anxiety in like a way that I could understand. I could understand why I'm like this, and I could see that there are other people like me, that I'm not alone in this. And it also gave like a lot of different examples, and especially I remember one example. So the author talked about this guy who I guess he wanted to become more confident, so he did like this challenge, and he would just go out and do like weird things, like ask people for weird things that would definitely make people think he's weird. So for example, he would go to the pet groomer and ask for a haircut, or he would go to the post office and ask to send a letter to the Santa Claus or stuff like that, you know, and then he would film it and post it on YouTube. So I did watch a few of his videos. I was honestly dying inside from embarrassment, but on the other hand, like, I do admire him, you know. So yeah, this book did provide some like very interesting examples. I think I should actually reread it because I read it like a few years ago. I think I should reread it, but I remember I had a great time reading it, even though it's non-fiction and I don't read a lot of non-fiction, but this book was actually good and I would recommend it. A book that deserves all the hype it gets. I think probably The Cruel Prince and the Folk of the Air trilogy. I think it gets a lot of hype, but I think it's well deserved because these books are amazing. I gave all of them 5 stars. So this is basically, it has like fae in it, and there's a lot of political intrigue, enemies to lovers. So if you are interested in this sort of fantasy book, I can highly recommend this book and this series. Okay, question number 10. A book you usually recommend when asked to give a recommendation. I would say that probably depends on the genre you want me to recommend. So if you want me to recommend fantasy, that would be either Six of Crows or The Cruel Prince, or Divine Rivals. So I already talked about all of them. If you want me to recommend a thriller, I would say either Five Survive by Holly Jackson or Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. If you want a mystery, I would say either the Inheritance Game trilogy or Good Girls Guide Murder series. Yeah, these are like the main genre that I read, so I can give some recommendations. Question number 11, a book that has your favorite character. Oh my god, I have a lot. The first one that came to my mind is Jude from the Cruel Prince, the Folk of the Air trilogy. But I also really like Cass Brecker from Six of Crows duology. Next question, a book you wish you could live in. I think probably the Caraval trilogy. I just feel like the world that Stephanie has created is so magical and enchanting, and I feel like I wish I could live in it. Next question, a book you thought you would hate but ended up loving. Honestly, none, because I don't read books that I think I would hate. I mean, what's the point? Do you guys do that? I think it's usually the other way around. So like, you think you will love the book but you end up hating it. I don't know, maybe some people do read books that they think they would hate, but I personally don't do that, you know, because if I think I would hate it, then I don't know, I just don't read books like that. Next, a book that made you cry, that would have to be Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. So that is the second book in the Six of Crows duology. If you've read it, you know, maybe you've cried as well. This book really made me so emotional. I bawled my eyes out. Yeah. Next, a book you wish you could read for the first time. I mean, probably most of the books that I already mentioned. So Divine Rivals, Six of Crows duology, the Folk of the Air trilogy. These are like the ones that I would want to read again for the first time the most, because they're like my favorites. Yeah, I think that's it. So that was actually the last question. That is it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.